Over this past few months, I've had amazing conversations with people where we talk about what is it that's the biggest challenge, or what is it that's standing on the way from them achieving their goals. And things that I hear are, I am not motivated. I know what I have to do, but I don't get it done. I've bought courses and I'm not getting the results. I am unorganized. Family and friends call me lazy, forgetful. I'm not on time, and they feel that there's something that's grabbing them. There's this thing, and they can't figure out what it is. They see other people surpass them, and after I hear all their challenges, I share how I discovered what was that invisible force that was holding me down. And what's happened so far is the feedback that I've gathered after I share has been, Alex, this is life changing. I didn't even know about this. That's crazy. I've had people tell me I've touched their soul. This makes so much sense. This is the answer that I was looking for. The video is about 55 minutes long. I actually recorded it during my knowledge walk, which is something that I do in the mornings. I put a pair of headphones and I listen to some audiobooks. So my invitation to you is, don't sit down and watch this. I want to invite you to put on your sneakers, go on a walk with me, and let's have this conversation. I hope it makes a difference for you in your life. By the way, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Alejandro, and I help people start their own web consulting business. If you'd like to learn more about what I do, you can click on the link below. And with any further ado, let's cue the video.
Hello, what's your name?
You know what needs to get done, but you're not doing it. You might forget things. Maybe family members, friends call you lazy, or they might say you're not motivated, or sometimes you don't feel like you're motivated. You know the stuff that needs to get done, and it's just so hard for you to get it done. You might buy a program, some coaching or a course, and you're not seeing results. And you see friends or other people just pass you. Less talented friends. You're more talented, but yet they're still passing you, and you feel like there's this invisible force that's grabbing you by your legs, and you just don't know what it is. If it sounds like you, I have something for you. And what's crazy is that what I'm describing is what a lot of people are dealing with, but they don't know. They're not clear on what that invisible force that's holding them down is. And in this video, I'm going to bring some light to what it might be. I'm not saying it is 100%, but I just want to give you some insight on my discovery of what this invisible force that was grabbing me by my legs was. So let me take you back to September of last year, and let me just walk you through. For a while, I've done a lot of things. I've done my shoe business, I've done my web consulting, I've launched a mentorship program, and that's a lot. It's a lot. And for me, my brain was constantly just going and going and going, and there's just so many things to get done. Even if I wake up early, there's still so much things to get done. My mental health was taking a big hit. And so I told my wife, I'm like, babe, I'm really struggling right now because I cannot stop thinking. I'm getting stressed very quickly. I want to go to the doctor, make sure that I'm good, because there's a point where, I had suicidal thoughts, and that's when I'm like, all right, I need to talk to somebody, because this is not right. I shouldn't be having suicidal thoughts. Not that I would never do it, but I just don't even like the fact of being stressed out for me to even consider that as a thought. And of course, I did lose my father to suicide. So of course, that's something that, that's on top of mind, right? That's a real thing. So I asked my wife to schedule me
for an appointment with a doctor. I told her I want to see a doctor and I want to look at like mental stuff, because I believe there's three lanes. The lane of spirituality, which I got that checked. There's the lane of mindset, which I believe I have that checked, and there's the last one, science. Like I read books, I listen to audiobooks. I do this thing called the knowledge walk, where I walk around. Instead of listening to music, I listen to an audiobook. There's an app called Headway, by the way. Use it. It's amazing. It's a great app where you can listen to awesome books, and then check it out, Headway. So anyway, I am dealing with my mental health. So I told my wife, I'm like, hey, let's go check a doctor, but I wanna go the route of science, because I already got my spirituality and I already got my mindset. So there's something off. So anyway, so I go to the doctor. She scheduled me with this individual who is a psychiatrist. My wife told me if there's anybody that I need to talk to, is this guy right here. She did some research and she found that this is the guy to talk to. So I went in, and I was having some. Sorry guys, there's cars, so I want to make sure I don't get hit while talking on the phone. So I go to this doctor, and what's crazy is that as I pulled up, I'm resisting it. Like, I don't even want to go anymore. I'm just like, man, what am I doing? And then I'm driving up to this office, and I thought it was going to be like this hospital. I don't know, for whatever reason, I thought it was going to be this hospital. But it wasn't. It's just like an office. And it reminded me of when I used to drive to people's businesses, to offer my website services. So I'm like, this is I don't know. This is a flashback. What is happening right now? So anyways, I go in. The doctor greeted me. Hey, Alex, welcome. Come in. What brings you in? So I shared with him. I said, Doc, my brain doesn't stop thinking. I'm getting stressed out. I'm doing so many things. It's just, I can't even go to sleep without thinking. There's so many thoughts in my head. I'm getting stressed out, and I had some suicidal thoughts. Not that I would never do it, but I just don't like the fact that that even crossed my mind. And so I share with him that, one of the things that happens with me is that I am doing so much that I feel that the things that I am doing, I should have crazier results than what I have right now. Like, I know I'm not a millionaire yet, and I know I should be one by now. And it's not the money that drives me, it's the ability to know that I have so much more potential and so many things that needs to get done. And I'm like running on like a hamster spinning around in this little wheel. So I share with him, and within 5 minutes he's like, yeah, I already know what you have. I said, what? I haven't even been here for, it's not even, it hasn't even been 5 minutes. And so the guy printed out this little paper. Said, hang on, let me print this out. He handed me this paper that says, my diagnosis test. And there's like 10 questions. And he says, look, by the way, don't get overwhelmed when you see this. Just answer as best as you can. I said, okay. So I answered number 1, yes, absolutely. Number 2, yes, absolutely, strongly agree, or whatever. Number 3, same, Number 4, I started laughing when I read the fourth question. I'm laughing my butt off because I see like I totally got it. Like that fourth question, I'm gonna share with you in a second what that fourth question was. But I was laughing my butt off, man. Like a genuine laugh that's coming from the gut, right? Not that a fake laugh that we do, but a real genuine laugh. And The doctor said, "Huh, you got it, huh? You understand what you have?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I completed everything." And I'm like, "Hey, doc, you wanna just check over my answers just to make sure?" He's like, "No, you can keep that. That paper is for you." So um, the reason why I was laughing so hard is because on the fourth question, well, first of all, let me tell you what I was diagnosed with. I was diagnosed at 32 years old with this little thing called ADHD, which I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. You know, it's actually one of the most common mental superpower there is, and I'll go more into details in a minute. You know, and I got diagnosed with ADHD. And stick with me, because what you know about ADHD, you might not know what ADHD is. You might have heard of it, but you don't understand what it is. And I've been spending the past few months, this was in September, learning about it. So I want to give you as much insight as possible, and I want to make a difference, even if there's one person watching this video. If you're watching this, my brother or my sister, I want you to know that you're not alone, and I hope this makes a difference for you in my sharing, because being vulnerable, it's not I don't want to say it's not easy, but being vulnerable is something else. I tell you, it's amazing what you can create when you're vulnerable, right? You can open up so much and allow people in and make a difference. Like there's something beautiful happens when you're vulnerable. So anywho, so I got this diagnosis called ADHD, and in the fourth question, one of the things that the question said was, "Are you fidgety? Do you do things with your legs or your hands?" And I started laughing, because when I sit down on my chair, I like do this thing called what my wife calls flamingo legs, where I just cross my legs like this, really tight, and it's like he nailed it. Like everything that the questionnaire had, it just made complete sense. So let's talk about ADHD and what is this thing, right? And if you know what it is, consider you don't. Or if you know someone that has it and you think you know what it is, consider you don't. Because there's a lot to this ADHD that a lot of people don't know about. So let me just start with the first thing. So ADHD, there are 3 different types, right? There are the first one, which is hyper, you're hyperactive, you're impulsive, right? And the other one is inattentive, right? You have a challenge. You don't have a challenge focusing, because that's a misconception. People think that we can't focus. Oh, we focus. And there's this thing called hyper focus, where, when we do something that we actually like, which I'll get more in a minute, we'll stay there all day. You can't get us off of it. Like we'll start a business, or we'll create this amazing masterpiece, and we're not gonna stop until it's done. So it's not the fact that we can't focus, is we have a challenge, controlling that focus, right? So inattentiveness. And then the last one is combined. You get 2, hyper and hyper impulsive and inattentive. Well, I was diagnosed with the combined. How nice, how exciting. So I have both, and so I get diagnosed. I'm both, and what it looks like, just so to give some perspective. So I wake up in the morning, and I say, you know what? It would be a great idea to have a dirt, like a dune buggy, for the backyard, so we can go off-roading. And then just the second I think about it, I go out and, I have this thought at 6 a.m. and at 9 p.m. I have this dune buggy, whatever that thing's called, in the driveway. That's what impulsivity looks like. I've done a lot of impulsive things in my life. I've done a lot of dumb purchases, and that's what impulsivity looks like. Some people think of like hyper, like just like you being hyper, like you think of ADHD like this little kid that was hyper and all that. Yeah, that was me when I was a little kid, and it makes sense why my mom was so strict on me, because I did not stand still. So, and as you become an adult, obviously you're not as hyper, or at least I'm not as hyper. But my impulsivity, definitely got the best of me. I've had situations where I was literally driving from Tampa to Fort Lauderdale. I saw this sign. I took this exit, and I ended up buying a car. You don't, you don't do that. Well, I did that, and that's because of impulsivity, right? So I can go on so many things. I've gotten so many things because I've been impulsive. So, and then the inattentiveness, for me, one of the reasons I I wake up early is not, and I realize this now, when like waking up early for me is non-negotiable. It's a must. If I don't wake up early, forget it. Like, for me to start my day at 9 o'clock, I have to wake up early. I have to get some kind of workout, walk, get some blood flow through my body, get a small win. I'm beating the sun. And when I don't wake up early, I feel it, man. I feel it. So I see the impact of why I have to wake up early, so I can start winning, so I can start my day, and I can do the best to focus on the things that I got to do early in the morning, because then it's like distraction galore. Text messages, problems, solutions needed, etc., etc. And when you're running 3 businesses, you can't imagine. So what did the doctor say? So, let me go into explaining more about ADHD. So that's impulsivity, the inattentiveness. Like, let's say I write my to-dos, because I plan my day every day with paper, like in an actual planner. I used to do it digitally, but it's something about like writing it down. It's made a huge difference for me. So, and I've been planning my days for a very long time. Both I've done it digitally, and I've done it when you're writing it down. And writing it down has been, in my opinion, the most effective. So as far as inattentive, so let's say you write down the 10 things you got to do. Well, your to-do list might have 10 things, but when you get to do them, it might look like 1, 10, 5. Let me think of a 12. Like, you don't follow through from top to bottom. You are all over the place, and that's part of the challenging of channeling your focus, right? So that's the part of inattentiveness. It's crazy because when I go to restaurants, I know that this might sound silly, but it's true. And I know if you're still watching this long, I'm hoping that everything that I'm sharing is ringing a bell to make a difference for you. When I go to a restaurant, I look at a menu and I get overwhelmed. That's the reason I always eat the same stuff, because I don't like. One time I was with my daughter, we went to this restaurant. Man, I looked at the menu and I freaked out. I'm like, what the hell? BLT, like, just, I don't know, like, what, like, it's just crazy. Just seeing that, it was nuts. And so that's why I asked my wife to order for me. And a lot of times, it's funny because the people that I've talked to and I shared what I'm sharing with you guys right now, you always marry a person that doesn't have ADHD. Like, my wife does not have ADHD. She's structured. She thinks from 1 through 10, and that's one of the reasons why I married her subconsciously. And everybody that I spoke with and I've shared, and if you look at their spouses, is the same thing. You got the opposite. You got the neurotypical brain wife with the ADHD brain. And by the way, just so you know, ADHD, there's there's this stigma with ADHD, right? Because a lot of people don't like. A lot of people might confuse this with a character trait, like, oh, he's not able to focus, or he's lazy, or he doesn't answer back, or whatever it is that people call you. This is not a character thing. This is a mental thing. And what happens is, it's important to understand, especially if you have family, friends, or maybe your kids that have it. You might want to, have a better understanding of what ADHD is, so you can actually make a difference, because there's a stigma that comes with it. So let's talk about ADHD. First of all, ADHD is the most well-researched mental disorder there is. And by the way, it's a superpower, and I'm going to go into it in a few. And ADHD is genetic. It's you get it through your genes. It's a genetic mental disorder, right? And the reason why it's a mental disorder is because there's a deficiency of certain chemicals in your brain, like dopamine, that gets you to do things. So, for example, let's say you have the garbage in your house, and you know you need to take it out because it's full, but your brain sees this garbage can and nothing happens because you have a deficiency of dopamine in your brain, and it's not pushing you, it's not getting us as excited as we should be to getting the trash out. When it comes to my wife, who has a neurotypical brain, she has plenty of dopamine in her head. She can see a trash and says, oh, let me take it out. For us, the trash needs to have mosquitoes around there, or it needs to smell, for our brain to release enough dopamine to say, get this garbage out. And that's when we actually get it done. So it's a deficiency in dopamine and some chemicals that allows us to, get things done. That's why one time I got this traffic light. The ticket was, I think, $150. And it's in my desk, and I had to put it on my desk so I can pay it. But it wasn't, my brain didn't really care for it. And it was until it became $260 where I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? And I did everything I could. So I felt so stupid because the damn bill was right in front of my desk the whole time, and I just didn't freaking pay it because my brain didn't care for it. It wasn't giving me the dopamine that I needed. But shit, when I saw $260, I'm like, yo, what happened here? This is so silly. I should have paid it. Like, what am I doing? It's right in my desk. And that's because I didn't have enough dopamine to get me what I needed, what needed to get done. So there's this thing where a lot of people would say, oh man, like, you only do things, if this sounds like you, that you only do things that you like to do. Yeah, no shit. That's right. Because we don't know any other way. Our brain releases the dopamine that we need when we're doing something we really enjoy, which it might sound like crazy for neurotypical people, but man, it's real. Like, if I don't like this, I have no motivation. I have nothing. I have to enjoy it. And the reason why I have to enjoy it is so my brain can give me enough dopamine so I can actually get the shit that I need to get done. So that's what ADHD is. There's a deficiency of chemicals in your brain, dopamine being one of them. And I want you to know what ADHD comes from, because a lot of people might see this as like, oh, like we're broken, or you're sick, mental disorder. Like, that sounds fucking horrible. I'm sorry. I'm like, fuck, I have a mental disorder. What the hell? And ADHD is genetics. It goes through genes, because back in the day, when we were freaking monkeys and primates, we needed to survive. And in order to survive, we need to have this brains, to have the certain chemicals that we have. So when we see something in the bushes, we go out and fucking chase it. And that's the difference between us being dinner that day versus us having dinner that day. right? Like being hyperactive or impulsive. Let's go fucking get the cheetah and eat it. That's that gene is what allows us to survive on the wild. And when you look at we look at colors brighter than other people, because back in the day when you see trees, you want to see the fruits that's behind the trees so we can go hunting and we can survive. Neurotypical brains were not surviving in the wild. Neurotypical brains were nurturing the kids, or just was not going, it was definitely not a hunter. It was doing other stuff, but not hunting. So we're badasses. That's what ADHD people are. We are badasses, and because of us, we're still here, whatever million years later, right? Now, with that said, what happens is with society, now we get put into this little cubicle where we have to work, and we actually have to fit the mold of society, and we have to stay in front of a computer from 9 to 5, and we have to do the task 1 through 5, and if we don't, we get fired, which that happened to me. And it's like, you're impulsive, which that's one of the reasons why I got fired. And what's crazy is you have this mold that we're trying to fit in, but it's crazy because it's like a fish. It's like a fish trying to climb a tree. It's not our jam. Now, what's the alternative? Like, do we go in the fucking wild and hunt cheetahs? No, I don't want to do that. I'm good. I'd rather do Uber Eats. It's much safer, right? Like, what's the alternative? People start their own businesses. That's what I did. Not just 1, 3. And what's crazy is that actually I told my doctor after I got diagnosed, like a couple of days later, I'm like, hey doc, do you think that maybe I don't have ADHD? Maybe I just have too many businesses and that's what it is? He says, hey Alex, no, you have ADHD, and you having multiple businesses and not going 100% on one of them is ADHD. I'm like, oh, okay, back to the drawing board. I even tried to sell my doctor that I didn't have ADHD. So ADHD, a superpower, because without that, we wouldn't be here, one. And here's the reality of it, right? Like, what do we do here? So imagine there's this 7-foot tall guy and this little chair. And, this guy goes to, sit down on this little chair. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for him. It's probably uncomfortable for the person who owns the little chair. Like, man, my chair's about to break. That sucks. Right? But what are you going to do? Is the guy going to cut his knees to fit into this little chair? Like, that's not cool. Like, how is that going to work? Right? But what happens if we change the context and instead of a chair, we put him in the basketball court? Now we got an NBA star. We don't have to chop his legs. We just got to put him in the right place. Right? Context. So for us, where do we need to be? How can we be in a place where our superpower can be used and can allow us to get the results that we want? Right? Like I said, there's a lot of people with ADHD that start their own businesses because of that. And there's a lot of very successful people. One of my clients, he shared with me, after I shared with him that I had ADHD out of nowhere, I just told him, I don't even know why, but it's amazing how the universe, when you're vulnerable, the things that happens. He said, yeah, I was diagnosed too in my adulthood, and I became a millionaire right after I found out and took care of it. So it's just unbelievable to hear. So there are successful people that have ADHD. You just have to know how to manage your superpower. We have a superpower. We have the ability to solve problems that other people can't even think about. We have the ability to risk and start businesses and just fucking be risk takers while other people don't have it in them. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of cool things that this little ADHD superpower comes with. We just have to learn how to manage it. We have to learn how to control it instead of it controlling us, right? So what did the doctor told me? I'm in this office, and I said, all right, well, how do we get rid of it, or what's the solution? He said, well, we have some pills. So, I'm good, doc. I am against like pills. I don't want to take any. If I have a headache, I'd rather just walk it out or drink some water. Try not to take the Tylenol or whatever. So I said, well, you don't have to take anything, or just, medicine is what can help you. I said, all right. So he goes, so what is it about the medicine that you're concerned about? I'm here to help you. What? I'm like, yeah, doc, I don't want to enhance my performance. Like, he started laughing. He said, what do you mean enhance? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to enhance my performance. He's like, son, your brain is competing with other brains that has more fuel in their tank. You are competing with people whose tank is full. You have this much gas in your brain right now. So this is not about enhancing your performance. It's about making it fair and give you enough juice so you can compete. Oh, that's a good point. He's like, look, if you didn't have ADHD, there are people that take ADHD, like medicine for like to do tests and be able to like, do like this, like exams to go to school, whatever the test is, SATs and all that stuff, right? That's not me. I'm not. I'm like, all right, fine. I got that. And he said, what's next? I said, well, what about I don't want to get addicted? I don't want to get addicted to this shit. So let me ask you this. Do you smoke weed? Do you do alcohol? Do you do this? Do you do that? No. All right. So you have zero addiction. What is it? He says, I have zero addiction behavior. So the chances of me getting addicted to the medicine are slim to none. He said, what else? I said, well, that's pretty much it. So I'm like, yeah, that's it. Well, what are the side effects? Well, he said, you might lose some weight. Because you might, you will lose a little bit of appetite. So you just have to be mindful of that. And that's about it. I'm like, oh, really? So he said, yeah, I looked and he's right. So I went ahead and I got prescribed. I'm taking Adderall. That's what we're starting with. We're gonna try something else as we continue the journey. But I'm taking Adderall, and so far, it definitely has made a difference. The crazy thing about this medicine is it's not just about taking the medicine. It's about exercising. It's about meditating. It's about planning your day, and then taking your medicine so you can accomplish what you need, right? So it's like the pill doesn't give you talent, doesn't give you discipline. It just helps you with getting things done so you can build that discipline, so you can build those habits, right? So, and look, I'll be honest with you, before, I was waking up at 4 without a freaking pill. So you can build habits without the pill. Like, that has nothing to do. The pill just helps you manage your focus. That's it. You still got to plan your day. You still got to do the work, but it's just much easier to be able to stay on track and do the things that that needs to get done, that might not be as exciting as other things. Because look, things needs to get done, and the work, it doesn't matter what business. There's things that I have to do in my work that are not fun, and they have to get done. So just because they're not fun doesn't mean I'm not gonna do them. And even when you outsource it to someone, which is a strategy that I put in place in February 2 years ago, I got my first virtual assistant to help me get things done without knowing that I had ADHD. But the things that I knew needed to get done that wasn't getting done, I hired somebody. And prior to that, I had systems in place that will automatically do it for me. So it's like I've been trying to figure this out, just I didn't know what it was. So that's where I'm at. Actually, I started taking them, and then I stopped for like 2 weeks. I'm like, no, I got this. I think I figured this out. I know what it is. So now I'm gonna, I told myself I'll continue taking them. Um, why like if somebody has, and look, I'm not saying you have to take it. You definitely want to test and figure it out and see what works for you. But I definitely don't want to have, like, it's like a person if they have diabetes. So I don't want to take ISO, and I just read a book about it. I'm just gonna read, and it's all about mindset. No, it's medicine. So it's like I went from here to like in the middle now, where look, I'll take it when I need it, when I need to be creative and all over the place. Let me not take it, and I'll solve any problem that comes my way. And that's it. I don't take them during the weekends. Take them Monday through Friday. Sometimes on the weekday I don't take them, depending on what I'm doing at work. And that's it. So has it made a difference? Absolutely. Is a pill the solution? Absolutely not. There are more things that needs to happen besides just popping a pill. You want to exercise. You want to meditate. You want to plan your day, and then you want to pop the pill. So that is that invisible force that was holding me down by my feet. And what's crazy, guys, is I mentioned before the reason why I wanted to go and check a doctor is because, and I told you I'm not a millionaire yet. It's not that the money drives me. It's more of I know I have the skill sets, knowledge, and potential to be here, and I'm not there. And that's what bothers me. And that's what gets me to get stressed out. Besides all the different things that happen on a day-to-day basis with the businesses, it's stressful. Businesses are not easy. And it's like, it's a situation where knowing that I have so much potential and I'm not exploiting it. Two, this thing with ADHD, there's this thing called rejection sensitivity disorder, or dysphoria, sensitivity dysphoria, something like that. And essentially is, if you tell me in this video, fuck off, it hurts. My self-worth takes a hit. I just spiral out under control. Somebody say I'm about to, I pitch a deal and they're like, no, we don't want to do it. Fucking self-worth. Like, so people with ADHD has this little package, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And we're just super sensitive. We're hypersensitive. We wear, that saying, we wear our hearts on our sleeves. That's the case. And so, I just have to gauge myself. If I get rejected or something happened and I'm from green and I'm already in yellow, I'm not going to do another activity that's going to put me in red. Instead, I got to get myself back to green. So something happens, I can go to yellow and not get myself to to red. So that's the little dashboard that I'm using and just gauging myself, and just be aware of it. Like, look, I'm not a piece of shit just because you tell me I'm a piece of shit. And just if somebody doesn't want to buy something from me, that's fine, right? And it's cool. So that it's a constant reminder that I am hypersensitive, and I just have to be aware of it. And when you're aware of things, amazing things happen. Oh my gosh, 37 minutes. Well, look, if you're still here, I hope what I share expose a little bit of something that you may or may not have. If you were diagnosed, because I've met people that are like, yeah, I was diagnosed when I was little, but I didn't pay attention. Yeah, you might want to pay attention how it's impacting your adulthood, because, like I said, the pills doesn't give you talent. You're talented with or without a pill. And for me, I am a very talented individual, and I was able to cover up the signs of my diagnosis because my talent overruled that, right? Overpowered that, or hit that. But it also, there's situations where it bites me in my ass, which is, it's this example that I give you guys, my mental health. I want to make sure that, I want to have peace of mind. I want to do one thing. I just want to focus and just think about one thing and not a gazillion things, because this is a zoo running 3 businesses. I have my web consulting business, I have my shoe business, and then I have my mentorship program. It's a lot. So and then I'm not going full 100% on neither of them, right? Or getting my whatever time I'm putting in. So it doesn't work for me. So I'm making some big changes in my life in the name of focus. And then lastly, just because I have ADHD doesn't mean I'm imposing my diagnosis on you. Make sure you go check out a psychiatrist. One of the things that my psychiatrist told me was that he was glad that I didn't go to a psychologist. And I asked him why. And, one of the things, for those who know me, I lost my parents when I was young. My mother at 18, and my dad in 2015, like 25, 26. And so, I've dealt with a lot of trauma. I've lost my wife and I lost our twins. We had twins. My wife was pregnant with twins, and we went to her 7-month checkup, and their hearts stopped beating. So it's definitely been a lot of, I've dealt with a lot of, we all have dealt with bullshit, right? With all craziness, but I could be easily, I could have gone to a psychologist and they're like $1,500 a month. And I'm not saying talk therapy is bad, not at all. Talk therapy is amazing. That's what we're doing right now. We're talking, right? But I could have easily gotten in the hands of someone that just, talked about my parents' loss and my kids and all this stuff. And the doctor said something that was profound. He's like, look, the reason why you're getting stressed out and you have a challenging time getting everything done you want in one day is not because your dad or your mom's or your kids passing. Like this, they're not holding you away from that. This is different. And when I heard that, it freed me up. It felt so nice to know that that wasn't it. Because for a while, I'm like, maybe, my dad committed suicide. My mom, cancer. Like, you might think like, oh man, maybe that's what's messed me up in the head. But it have nothing to do with me getting my stuff done in order of importance and getting shit done. So that was very liberating for me to know that my parents had nothing to do with my current situation. So I invite you to check out a psychiatrist. I've had people that told me they went to one and they're like, oh, they didn't really say much. Find the right ones. Just like there's bad restaurants out there, there's bad psychiatrists, doctors. Just find somebody who actually understands you. Share, be vulnerable, and see if you have or may not have it. And just know you're not alone. It's not too late to grab your life and this superpower and use it for what you want to do with your life. I look for a minute and I'm like, man, I wish I would have known this a while ago. It's all right. Reason I didn't get diagnosed, by the way, in high school when I moved to the States, because I migrated when I was 11. I went to school and they put me in this program called ESO, which is for Spanish speakers or foreign speakers. And so nobody diagnosed me because I had a bigger problem than ADHD, which was my freaking language barrier. So I had a bigger problem to solve. So I was under the radar. So that's why I didn't get diagnosed in school. And I was talented. So I was able to do a project literally an hour before it was due and be the best project ever because I had that gift, that talent. And so yeah, guys, so that's pretty much what I want to share. 42 minutes, holy shit. Thank you for watching. If you need anything or you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me a DM. I'm happy to give you any insight that I have. Happy to recommend you to some resources that I have that I've used to learn more about ADHD. Create a beautiful day, guys, and I will see you on the next one.